Hi, everybody. Jim Grey Wolf and the rest of the team so far assembled. Gathering of Eagles podcast. Oh, yeah, this one's going to be on brain and heart. Not brain versus heart, brain and heart today. And I've gotten a lot of response, so we'll see who shows up. Some said they had to be late because of timing. I'm recording this. I'm hoping it records. For those who were on last week, we still have not found that recording. I hope we do. Don's been great in trying to help find it, but whatever's meant to be will be. Today, if we do have a lot of people who want to talk, I'm going to try to move this around as best I can. The Pine Ridge folks are here, and there is, whoa, there's 29 of them. And 13 of them are youth council. That's the whole youth council is on. So they're coming to us from fine. And here come the grandmothers are coming in now. There are 7 of the grandmothers. Okay, so that's our 2 groups that come in via the phone. I think we're ready. This will be a good one to speak up on because there's a lot happening. Actually, before we dig into that, let me do a little side announcement. Been working with our brother Standing Bear's materials a lot in the last couple of days. I think most of you know, if not all of you, he passed away suddenly, not that long ago, 5 days ago now, I guess. Tomorrow morning there will be another broadcast from the We Are the Medicine group, which was his. You're all welcome to be on there. It's on my page on Facebook. It's on the We Are the Medicine. It's all over. If you can't find it and you want to be there, reach out to me. I'll make sure you get there. And there's a lot we're going to be talking about, including upcoming ceremonies and things for Standing Bear and for all those who have been leaving lately. A lot are leaving, and not all old gray hairs like us. A good relative from Standing Rock left the other day. He was 29 years old. It's the time we're in, so we definitely want to do something. We want to do something here physically, but also virtually, and we'll reach out to everybody. So welcome to everyone here now who are coming. Here's Melissa. Hi, Melissa.
Hello.
Hello. So, let's dig in. I've been waiting to put this one on, and I've had requests for it for a while. But timing didn't seem right. There's so much working its way through. But now more and more it's becoming an issue. So it's time to talk. See where we go with it. Again, no right or wrong. It'll just be what it'll be. There are a lot of people who work in the realm of the mind. That's great. Some of them think that everything has to be done there to move ahead. Others in the heart, thinking, oh, we got to be in the heart or we're not moving ahead. I was always taught we have to bring it into balance. And I know I've been training people to get into the heart for years. That's because we're so out of balance. Westernized people, we've been shoved up here for a long, long time. And so I'm trying to show ways that we can bring it this way. So we use them both. Talking with, maybe it was with Don earlier, I can't remember. Starting in the heart, to me, that's the way to go. Once we feel it, sense it, go into it deeply, then let it come up here from some analysis. And then work it together. This is also another function of, and this doesn't come from me, this comes from Two Bears and his wife, Linda. He was my primary teacher. We were told in the prophecies, we are told, that this time around as we open the new earth, we have got to be in balance, male and female. And I thought for quite a while that meant men and women. It does. The men and women this time have to be in balance. And there'll be some work done tomorrow on that show. Actually, our brother Mel will play a role in that, around that. but it means in every part. Mind and heart represents male and female in our bodies. And I personally, took me years. The battle, the war that went on in me between my brain and my heart almost took me out many times. And so it's something I've experienced. And I know some of us have been talking. Once we experience something, we understand it better. So I think that's all I'm going to say for now. It's great to see you all. There's some others who wanted to come in late, and I told them that's fine, they can do that. So with that, my other co-host, Valerie, what do you want to put into this?
I guess as usual, I have a question. So when we're talking about the mind, are we talking about the classic id, ego, and superego? Are we talking a little more um, developmental? Just kind of give me a clue.
No, good question. For me, I'm always talking about the left and the right. And so the masculine represented in the mind and the feminine in the heart. We have to balance within ourselves too. And that's also a challenge that I think each one of us faces all the time. So it's whatever you want it to be. And it's much like the medicine wheel. You can use it so many different ways. But I think we need to get these things in balance way beyond just men and women. I think it has to be internal and external and understanding. And there's not one way to do it. I don't accept that at all. There never was one way. There's not meant to be one way. We all bring part of the formula. I was on with a women's group a little while ago. We all bring part of the answers, even when we don't know the questions. And we put that in the big old stew pot and see what comes out. And we find out that things might not be exactly what they thought. It happens to me all the time. So I hope that answers it. Melissa, what do you say, if anything?
Oh, well, I have a lot to say. I just didn't know when I'm going to say it. Hello, everybody. Welcome on in. This as a clinical social worker and as somebody who works with Jungian analysis and as a heart-centered hypnotherapist, everything begins within, and there's that constant battle. And so I was toying with this before, and I was just writing some things and some thoughts that I had, you know. When we get to our heart, many times at the end of a session, we put our hands to our heart after we've done our healing, after we've discovered the patterns, after we've healed the inner child. We bring that back to the heart center, because that's what being human is about. What does it mean to wear these meat suits? What does it mean to quiet the mind and listen to the heart? Um, so the heart is really where we become aware of the self. It's ultimately the heartbeat, right? And those of us that are part of the various drum circles and who have been on a drum or just listen to the heartbeat of the mother. It allows us, I think what happens is, we call it the monkey mind, right? The monkey mind just spins and spins and spins. And when we can reconnect to our breath, it allows us to go deeper into the heart space. And the more that you can train to bring that energy down from the head and to the heart, you can really begin to work with that toroidal field, that coherence that comes out. And there's many different ways of measuring this. We have the Heart Math Institute, we have the BioWell. There's all these different energetic ways of measuring light, the biophotons, so many different ways. But we know that sending love increases the field, right? And that when we say positive things, um, just even to our plants, right? When we talk to our plants, they grow. And we really need to look at nature in that way. So I've been writing a lot. I've been working with the color orange all day. I see Mel, you and I are matching with our salmon colors today. So I've been working a lot with that color. So we'll see where the night takes us. I have a little something. Maybe I'll lead us on a meditation working with the color orange. Talking stick in the middle. I saw Jerry had his hand up.
Yeah, before we go there, I'm going to shift up to the, just so we do this too. The Youth Council asked to be co-host this week too, and I told them that's fine. Awesome. And so some of their first input, okay. Yeah, we had talked about this, so I get it. On the res, they are still trained all too often that the men need to be strong, hard. They need to be the thoughtful ones. They're allowed to feel emotions when they're with their families, but not necessarily accept it other times, especially with the men. This is something we young ones are now wanting to change. So, and yes, by culture too, this is a big thing. That's a really good point. Thank you, and we're glad you're there, as always. Yep. We also have Brother Jerry here, who they came on. They started with us when Jerry and I began this podcast way back.
Got a slate.
Okay, so Jerry, take it.
And ask, should we open with prayer?
Oh boy, you know what? I am sorry. I've been doing so much today. Can't believe I skipped that. Would you take it?
I'm just going to speak in English tonight.
Okay.
Creator, Earthmaker, Mother Earth, spirits of the four directions, four elements of life, spirits of our ancestors, our grandmothers and grandfathers, male and female relatives, all that have gone before us. Hello, Wayne. Glad you could be here with us today in this way. All that have gone before us and that generation that is yet to come. I send out this voice also to our elder brothers and sisters in the rock nations, to the water spirits, to the mountain beings, to the little ones and the big ones, those who creep and crawl within and upon Mother Earth, those who live in her waters, those who walk upon her, the four-leggeds, and the wingeds who fly above. Bless us with their beautiful songs. All that is, and all the people that are here, and all that can't be here physically, that are here in spirit with us now. This voice to you, to all of you, in gratitude, love, respect, honor, in unity, and in wholeness. Ask you, wrap around us. Let us feel your love, your prayers, your guidance, your wisdom. Guide us tonight and always as we begin this podcast. Give thanks to you all my relations. Naha.
Aho. Perfect, thank you. Is that what the hand was up for? I assume so. I'm sure you'll be back. Thanks, Jerry. There's so many things flying around right now. Yeah, Wayne's here. His brother sends his love as well, as do his relatives down in Florida, who I was working with yesterday. Yeah, we're going to be scheduling some ceremonies here physically, but also virtually online, for Wayne, who we'll use as the person, since he was part of us, but also for all those who are leaving. And there's too many leaving right now in some ways, but they're doing what they need to be and where they need to be. A couple of people from Standing Rock left just 2 days ago. One of them was 29 years old. Others that I knew. So we will be doing that to carry things forward, to make sure we're connected above and below. Okay. Talking stick in the middle for anyone who wants to pick it up.
I'll take it.
Okay.
Hi everyone, I'm Estelle. Very nice to see you again. Hi. Thank you for having me. I was really excited when I saw that you were going to host this, Grey Wolf, because this is something that you and I have been talking a lot about. And I had a moment today. And the moment was when I had shared, if no one's told you I love you today, I love you, to my new bosses. I take care of a 1-year-old, so some young parents. And getting really comfortable saying I love you is something that we had talked about in a pipe ceremony with Standing Bear and his partner Zenka and Grey Wolf, to have that be more normal, not just something that you say to someone that you've known a long time or a loved one or a family member. And it felt really good to say that. And it triggered something in me, that I hadn't said it to my parents in a while. I'm in a kind of no contact situation with my parents. I'm recently new to Arizona. I've been out here a couple months, and I've been going back and forth a lot with, something as nuanced as like keeping them blocked or unblocked on my phone. There's a lot of energy towards that. And so I went outside today to lay in the sun in our backyard to charge up because I've been feeling a lot of heavy emotions. Today also happens to be a 7/7 portal, which my housemate, who's actually on this call with us, reminded me of today. And I thought, okay, all right, that could be contributing. And I'm laying there and I'm soaking in the sun and I'm charging in the sun. And I get this wave of like, send this quote to your parents, and close the door, just close the door. You don't need to be going back and forth with this blocking, no blocking thing. Like everything's been said and done and you love them and it's okay to move on. You're not a bad person. Like all is good. And this huge gust of wind came in, like I'm talking, whoop, and it was like my permission slip, like, okay. And one of the first times I met Standing Bear, I had asked him if he would play this flute. And it was my grandfather's. And he played it and he started to teach me a little bit. And he kept asking me to say, he kept saying, tell yourself, like, I am the sacred wind. I am the sacred wind. So again, a lot of beautiful energies were kind of settling into place. And I came inside and I wrote the text message and I set up the block. And then like right away, everything was okay. And when Grey Wolf, you were talking, what I was really thinking about was, being in the mind, right? Like it serves a purpose when we need it to. Scheduling, finances, survival, a lot of this may be associated with the masculine, right? As we say, like the logical brain. And I'm like, okay, for me, like talking about these masculine and feminine energies, like they really didn't become prominent until I started learning about like my moon cycle. And so I feel like something that's important to say is for someone to become aware of their own, being in the heart or being in the mind or being in the logic or being in the creative and being in the flow requires you to really get to know yourself. and to go within, just like you were saying, Melissa. And what can happen is that a lot of people aren't always thinking about this, right? They're just like living in their daily life, doing their thing. And I also believe what can happen is that we get caught in these programs, these conditions. We're comparing ourselves, we're thinking we're not good enough. And so I think that getting caught in the mind is also like a contribution to trauma. And so it's almost like asking us to really, or anyone, right? If you were to like open this up, this conversation and talk to anyone, it's like, again, uh, go within, get to know your body. What in our lives is impacting us and creating such noise up here that we aren't able to go down. And I think that that's just really something that was kind of coming through for me was, we're all born living in our heart, right? We're all probably born just living and being in love and, blessed. But then things start to come up and like everything starts to happen and then we get stuck in our mind. And so it's like, it really requires us to continue looking at what is the block? What is the block of this flow? And so I find myself when people are trying to give me advice, like, just get out of your head. I'm like, dude, if it was only that easy, right? And so it takes a minute. And so grateful if I just want to say, like, also as challenging as it's been and as triggering as it's been to hear you continue to say that to me, like, I needed to get and be where I had to be, which is in this moment, and to make that shift. And I'm really glad to be here. And it'll be most likely that something else will come up in my life again, where I'm questioning my reality and, I'm needing to make a choice about something that's not an action of living in love because um the first time that I personally really remember my heart expanding and my whole reality shifting was when I stopped eating meat and I realized that the animal on my plate was like used to be alive. And that was really the first heart expanding heart chakra thing that started happening in my life. And so it's, getting into the heart and getting in the mind. It's a daily practice. It's really requiring us to look at our choices on a personal level. And it's more, it's easier said than done, yet it's incredibly critical. And so I want to say thank you. And we love you, Standing Bear. I am the Sacred Wind.
Thanks, Estelle. Estelle is a member of our physical White Buffalo Lodge here. So is Jen's the new one. I didn't realize that was her here, but that's good. Welcome, Jen. And I see Chantel came in. She's here somewhere. She was having problems. So we missed her for the opening prayer, but Chantel will come to you for the closing prayer, if you're willing. Yeah, there's stuff online, but go ahead, Jerry. You please.
So, way of thinking, way of being. I'm going to go to something that doesn't mention either one, the heart of the mind. Not directly. I'm going to share a story. Where should we come from? Should we come from our heart and mind? Heart or mind? This story speaks of where we can come from. It speaks of gifts that we were given to help us come and walk a good way. So this story is the story of the gifts of beauty. Some of you may have heard it already. Time for a rerun then. So, in creation times, the great mysteries had many gifts to give to everyone and everything created. Each creation was imbued with these beginning gifts. The first gift of beauty was love. Everything was given the power of love. For this helped beings to cling together in their nations, clans, families, and all relationships. The second gift of beauty was sound, song, speech. For this allowed the first gift of beauty to be shared with each other. Everything in life has its sound, its song. Humans, plants, animals, planets, stars, galaxies. Everything has its sound, its song. The great mysteries had many gifts to give, but this would mean that everything in life would be a receiver. So there would be both givers and receivers. Everything in life was identified as either male or female. This was the third gift of beauty. The fourth gift of beauty was intuition, inner knowing. For this gave us our continuous, eternal connection to our universal family, to Creator, and all beings, and all that is. This would be our compass. This would be our guide. This would be our beacon home. And the reminder that we are never anything other than whole, because we are all related. We are all one. If we practice as givers and receivers with these gifts, it will help us to understand this world of great beauty and help us to perfect our spirit on our earth walk. This, then, is the story of the gifts of beauty. And I start out by talking about this with this subject, because when we enter into either or we look at the polarities of one or the other, we already enter into linear thinking, which is not the way that our ancestors used to think. And I don't just mean native ancestors. I mean our ancestors way back. It was not duality. Nothing so simple as two-sided. Life is so multifaceted. We were given everything we were given for a purpose and for a reason, including our mind and our heart. They each serve their purpose. They each have their reason and their responsibilities to help us in this lifetime. If we stop looking at it as a battle, that alone helps to integrate ourselves, to balance ourselves, so that we can come in a good way from both these places. Stick in the middle.
Thank you, brother. And that's exactly right. It's all about balance. Everything's about balance. We've been out of balance for so long, from the beginning. And now it's a huge job to get into balance. And some of us have had a battle internally. Some of you who are younger are doing it now. I get that. And I respect that because, I think Estelle said it. It's not always easy. It's not an easy challenge. But if this stuff was easy, it wouldn't mean much. So, good, Jerry. Thank you. And I'm really helping. 2 people have now asked. Yes, we're recording. For those who came on late, still haven't figured out. Last week, something blew and somebody did a screen share, which should not happen because I have it blocked. But anyway, hopefully we can download this and have it set. Our brother from down under, Kiwi, Chris.
G'day, everybody. I'm sort of listening to what Jerry's saying, just going to add a wee bit to it from my perspective, because his words reminded me of this. When I feel into anything, for for those who don't know me, I've learned to communicate and talk with nature. When I do, I feel I'm walking in the forest, as an example, and I feel the tree. I feel a vibration from it. To me, everything that exists has its vibration, it has its rhythm. And in that rhythm is its consciousness. Every vibration, every rhythm is a reflection of the consciousness from which this being reflects, projects, and conveys. Now, when we're created with our pure vibration. The more separate we become, the more we lose touch with this pure source of our original vibration, our original rhythm. That rhythm is a reflection of both consciousness, source, and the universe itself. The universe has made these vibrations available to all of us for those who would listen. To listen to this, we go back to our first speaker this evening. Forgive me, I didn't quite pick up your name, so apologies for that. But in that rhythm, in that vibration, we hear ourselves not as a separate being, but as the connected being. We learn to listen to the heart, which is not the human heart in our body, but the heart which is the source of creation, where everything is made in love, with love, by love. So when we feel love, we want to drop not only into the human heart, but the deepest source of that love, which manifests through our human hearts. Our human hearts pick it up in a small sense compared to what source has it. Because with source, it doesn't attach to form, it is everywhere the same. That pure unconditional love in which everything is created is the life breath that everything breathes. And in that breath, once again, we feel the rhythm of the breath, we feel the rhythm of the being, we feel the rhythm of the heart, not just our physical heart, but our source heart. It's that source love we're looking to get in touch with. Now, there's simple exercises for that. I've been sharing those with people for years now, but only one-on-one, so I'm not used to doing it in groups like this or anything. And when we learn to listen to that love, we recognize beauty, recognize life, and we recognize the vibration, which is the pure form of all being. And I'm going to leave it at that. I'm starting to feel embarrassed because this, for me, can sound a wee bit out there compared to what most people are used to. So I'm just going to leave it at that.
No, Chris, you're not out there too far. But you're out there. So am I, so I get it. Yes, thank you, Chris. The grandmothers are throwing in here, grandmother Val, who started with us. The heart is also in the mind, and the mind is also in the heart. Their way of saying yes. The two really are one. It's just how do we work with them? And again, I said at the beginning, some of you were not here, I had a major battle and war within me. I grew up in the mind. I was trained to be in the mind. After all, I was a male, and first male of my generation, and on and on and on. And so I was to be tough. All hell break loose if I ever showed a tear. And so I had to fight that battle. It's becoming less and less now as I'm watching some of the young ones who are speaking up in our youth council. And they are working intentionally. The men and the women in the youth council are working together intentionally. They're pairing up and then shifting partners to talk about this one-on-one, and then they bring it into the group. That's a really nice way to do it. Thank you. That's great, guys. Whoops. Okay. Signal's flickering a little bit. They hear us. So, yeah. Chris, you going to say something further?
Yeah. While I'm sort of doing something for me that seems a little bit extreme, I'll throw this bit in. One of the things I find when I get in touch with that source love, which sees everything in its purest form, you cannot go there with the brain, because the brain works in time, which is the world of separation. To get in touch with the source love in our pure form, we have to be in the moment, which is where we completely leave the perception of separation behind. The brain is useful for what it works with, but in getting in touch with that source, our pure form, it is an activity beyond the brain. It is the in the moment experience, which to me is where reality is experienced. Everything else is just a signal received by the brain, which is then interpreted by the brain, whereas reality is direct experience without interpretation. Once again, there's simple exercises to get in touch with this, but a lot of people, I find when I talk to them, they go, oh, yeah, I get it. But they get it from a brain perspective. The brain goes, oh, yeah, I can construct a concept of that. And so many people go into explanation, and you can't explain this stuff. You only live it. And when we do communicate with somebody who's also there, our words only point at that energy of oneness, that energy of wholeness, that energy of pure form recognized by source and those who come from that place. It really is seeing the beauty, the love, and the compassion in everything and with everything. You can't help it. It's just a given. But that learning
Good.
to step out of the brain is crucial.
Thanks, Chris. And I partly agree with Chris, and I partly disagree with Chris, as our counsel. Yes, again, I've trained people to get into the heart for a long time, and I always will. If we can be internally in that balance, that full balance of heart and mind, then they can work together. I have people I lead on journeys or I lead on healing work who can do both. You got to lead from the heart for sure, but you don't have to leave the brain behind, which is kind of what we're hearing from our group up there. Tom's feeding this through from the whole circle. Okay, we have elders that do work with both. They teach us to be in the heart, but also let us understand that the two have to be there, or we are in separation, especially our medicine people, especially the women, the grandmothers. So that's their feedback on that. Jerry.
The heart. So let's turn this on its head. I say neither should be in control. Who are we?
You're breaking up a little, Jerry. Can you get closer?
Okay.
That's
Is this
good.
any better?
That's much better. Thanks.
Okay. So like I was saying, the heart or the mind, I say neither. Which should be in control? Neither. Who are we and what are we? We are so much more than no, can't hear me?
No, we're losing you.
Okay. Let me see if I can move someplace else to get a better signal.
Okay, I'll comment on that as you do. I totally agree. Control is not the word. If I used it, I misspoke. Lead. I lead from the heart and then let the brain fill in. If we lead from the brain, we can be blocked. But it's not control. You're absolutely, totally correct. Control is a bad word to use here. Oh, did you move?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's better.
Once again, I say which one? Neither. Which one leads? Neither. Because who are we? We are more than heart. We are more than mind. Who are we? What are we? We are spirit. If spirit guides the heart and the mind, and we let that be our guide, then the two can work together. Then we have balance. The heart and the mind are great creations, meant to be used by our spirit during this earth walk. How do we do that? Listen, or your own words will make you deaf. Learn to listen to the guidance, the gentle guidance of our spirit. And then everything else will fall into place. Stick in the middle.
Perfect. And the grandmothers are feeding back. Yes, heart and mind are simply labels for it's all one. Labels for parts of the same thing. So yeah, they're kind of saying what you are in a different way, Jer. And you're right. You're right. For me, when I go in first into my brain, it blocks my flow. So maybe it's whatever works for each one. Hey, Jen, welcome. You're on.
Hello, everybody. I'm on my walk, so there might be cars passing by. But what came to me was, and like to further the discussion of instead of whether it's the mind or the heart or what does that look like? And, I have a mountain here in my neighborhood, and right over there. I spend a lot of time on her. And I'm up here in the carefree I-17 area in Phoenix, and they're building this big giant plant right in right right across the way in this Sonoran Desert Preserve area. And I was sitting there one day and just sitting on top of the mountain, my hands on the earth, looking at all of the construction happening, just crying, and I could feel in the earth. And then the earth came to me and I was like, this is what I'm meant to do. This is what I'm here for. I'm the mother. I'm here to give to my children. And it was in those words that were spoken from the mountain that, like, if we ever wonder what it looks like to live with our heart and mind as one, just look at this earth, look at the skies, look at the trees, the animals. None of them sit there deciding whether to move from the heart or the mind. They just are. They create oxygen for us, they give us rains and waters, they provide shelter and materials and resources, and they don't judge. They don't discuss whether they're doing it right or wrong. They just are. And so when we quiet the noise, as many of us have said, and just listen to spirit, as was just said, then there's no discussion, no question on whether it's the mind or the heart. It just is. A whole talking stick in the middle, I think that's the right
Very, very,
ending.
very, very well said. Yes. I'm pulling Robbie's in here, and we also have people on the phone, and we also have hands. I'm going to bounce this as best I can. Robbie, welcome, my brother from England. I'm always falling out with people because I can't hide my emotions. Robbie, I hear you. If our emotions in my world are true and not meant to hurt anybody, why should we hide them? They should be shared. And there's a lot going on right now around this, a whole lot. If some of you want to hear some more, some stuff going on, and join the call tomorrow on the We Are the Medicine call. There's going to be a lot of things brought up, which we'll delve into then. But yeah, Robbie, we all deserve the ability to express our emotions. You're a man. You need to be able to express your emotions. We're trying to get into balance here. Since we were kids, at least for me, I talk only for me, of course. As children, for me, my generation, oh, you're the thinking one. You're the ones that make things happen. You're the ones that go do what needs to be done. The women, they do all that. They do all that emotional stuff. We don't need to do that. And the women, I'm sure, were being told similar things on the other side. That's the kind of nonsense that has to be gone, Robbie. So what's wrong with speaking your emotions? So I'm glad you do. I'm really glad you do. I also, Mel had to step out. Some of you not here at the beginning. He's not feeling well, and his family's not feeling well, so he had to tend them. So he said goodbye with all his love. I think I'll get to these in a bit, guys. I think Chris is next. Let's shift back to Chris, okay? Kiwi Chris.
Chris, we think you're muted.
You're right, I was. It must have been lovely seeing my lips move. Um,
Whoops.
yeah. Yeah, when I say we go beyond the brain, it's not separating, it's not eliminating or divorcing the brain in any way, shape, or form. The brain just takes a different role. Instead of being in the driver's seat, which it is for most of Western civilization, because it's the only place people know. When we go beyond it, we're essentially stepping out of the brain's operating seat to step into consciousness's operating seat. Consciousness is fully aware and in touch with the brain as in all things. One of the interesting things that finds that happen is most of us, when we talk about emotions and feelings and sensations and perceptions, we're talking about, brain operated senses, seeing, feeling, tasting. When we go from brain to awareness, which is part of what people talk about becoming self-aware, awareness has its own range of senses and perceptions. When we go through awareness into consciousness is where we become the thing. We're not separate from anything, including the brain. It has its own range of senses and perceptions, as does when we go beyond that to creative source, it has its own range of senses and perceptions. And we start to realize that we've got this whole range of tool of senses, perceptions, and ways of perceiving beyond the limitations of brain activity. Brain is still useful. It has its role. It has its place. It's wonderful when you want to find where your car keys are. And it does operate, various things in the body. I'm definitely not promoting separate the brain, because it's not. You can't do that. But we're just not using it as the main driving seat. It becomes the passenger, not the driver. So talking stick in the middle.
Yeah, it's interesting. So you're speaking that way. Jerry's speaking about there is no driver. I'm somewhere in the middle because it's all one, so in a way there is no driver. This is good. Good discussion. Oh, Mr. Don.
There we go.
Yep.
Unmuted.
Good.
All right. So I guess I'd start by, because I kind of bring I'm science and a healer, so I like both and a lot. So we begin our process of embryonic growth and differentiation. And the first thing that's laid down is the spinal cord, nervous system, brain, and the heart. And those are the two things from which really all else differentiates within our body. So I say they're one, but they can confuse and cause problems with us. I was fortunate enough to learn a lot young around the healing arts, things that I could bring into practice. And the one thing I was told is never use will, right? Never use will. And there was a point where, I studied for years and years, and I went to school and I had to give a lot of massages for free, right? So I had this place I went, and we did that on a regular basis. And this one gentleman who wasn't part of the regular group showed up one night. And he says, I got a twitch in my eye. And I told myself, I'm going to fix that. Me, right? He left there without a twitch in his eye. I left with a twitch in my eye. I had the fortunate luck that he came back 2 weeks later, right? He was all impressed. I'd learned my lesson, right? I had willed that. I got involved in that situation because I always just worked through spirit. I don't do anything. I'm just a facilitator. But I decided to step in. And so I gave it back. I mean, literally, decided, okay, I'm giving it back to him. And I did. I left without a twitch. And this sounds like a wild story, but he left with the twitch. But it was a really good lesson to learn. But that really got me into thinking about that connection, right? I've read a lot of things like Alice Bailey, esoteric healing. I mean, I've been across the spectrum. But what I really found out through it all, especially when I really got tuned into energy work, was that I just facilitate, right? And when I do, it's really that and that connection, it feels as if it comes through my heart, right? I just give up my mind for a minute. It comes into play, right? I have to. A good example is someone who had a stroke, and 6 months later they still can't eat. They can't lift their arm to eat. And I had a practice that was a couple of days a week in a hair salon, and I traded with the esthetician, get my fingers done or whatever. And she brought her aunt in, right? And this was the woman, right? And she had 3 weeks. She had 2 weeks. I had 3 appointments, a half hour each. And I went in. I didn't go in. Spirit went in. And I've had this experience across spectrums, but this is a really good example. But there was this connection, and I saw this. I'll call it a video, right? That's what I saw in my mind, was a video. And I said, oh, let's take her back, right? Just watching this, Spirit took her back to when she was a very young child. And I'm seeing like Girl on a Swing. I'm seeing this video of a young child. When she came back next week, she was eating again, right? And so to me, that was that signal that a lot of times you have to go back to that child in you, right? And I said it before on these calls that the baby, right, that 3-week-old baby in your arms is the most pure, the most balanced, the most incredible energy and love, because it hasn't learned the process of differentiation up here, right? These things that we put in the way. And not that I haven't stumbled a lot since then. But in my older age, I think I've really learned that we talked about the tree, right? The chaos, that we have in life, and being like the tree, right? It stands firm. And I love to watch the wind, big winds go through trees, because they're just there and they're just rooted. They're moving as if in a dance. And part of what was said today, and I think maybe it was Estelle. I hope I said that right. Even in my regular work now in business, you either respond or you react, right? And I made that connection that the tree just responds. It doesn't react to it. And I think that's a big key in trying to break that interdimensional ladder that we create through our thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and being able to just stop for a moment and to say, well, what does that mean for me, right? If I really look back, most arguments are people projecting against right? It's things that we're kind of stuck in, that we're perceiving mentally, that don't allow that bridge to be built, where it says, well, wait a minute, right? I mean, I said something the other day, and I said, I really shouldn't have said that. I was just projecting something I was feeling, right? It wasn't about you. It was about me. And realizing that more and more, even when you get in that situation, what are you projecting, right? And to me, that starts to break those barriers down that get built between here and here. It's just step back, respond, don't react. What does that mean to me? how would I do it differently, or how should I do it now, right? Because if you can stop, you can say, well, wait a minute, that usually makes me feel this way. Why do I feel that way in these kind of situations? And I think that helps with the unpacking kind of healing that we need to do as we grow up. I mean, I didn't have my best unpacking until I was 40 years old, right? I mean, and I'm still unpacking every day, right? Even, I'll never quit unpacking, and I'll never quit learning about how to balance my heart and my mind. But those are the experiences that I've had around that. So stick in the middle.
Beautiful, brother. Thank you.
I have
Brother,
to jump in there.
I didn't see your hand.
I didn't know co-hosts had to raise their hands.
I'm just playing with you. Go ahead.
Sorry, Estelle. I just got it because John, the shirt that I put on tonight, talking about our beloved DK, Tibetan freedom, right here. So I have to tell you, he has been speaking through me all day. So those of you that are not familiar, just this past week we started talking about the masters in one of the medicine circles, and they were asking me questions about that. So I wanted to share the Great Invocation. I don't know if I've read it so far since we've been here, but I believe this is a nice. I'm just going to do a quick pause before we continue. I want to just open up real quick with the forks, where we bridge heaven and earth, because so much of what you said is living in this moment as we speak, because just been a little definitely aquatic geometry. Those are the two words that come to mind. Let's just say that there's been a lot of coming up from the water. So the frequency is what led me here. Frequency is medicine was my talk, and that led me to Standing Bear. We are the medicine, and I reached out to him, and that's what led me ultimately here. So here's the frequency. So this is earth, and earth allows us to clear any of those thought forms or transmute any fear into love. Because anytime of any threshold or any doorway or any transition, a lot of things come up in the collective. A lot of questions, a lot of statements, a lot of hurt, a lot of pain, and grief shows up in so many different ways. So I think it's really important that we honor our beloved ones who are here, who are no longer here, and those of us that had this human experience and we're human. So I just like to add, I'm just going to speak this real quick. And this was actually read by Eleanor Roosevelt to the nation. So the masters got in. It's a DC. It's happened before. It will happen again. And what a lot of these big teachers or gurus or people that sell all the books, and make all the billions and are on the stage, they won't publicly speak about working with these energy streams. But this I can tell you, because I know many of them personally, this is what they're working with. So the violet flame, transmutation, the light, it's predating our existence here. And I don't have to go into Steiner now, but let's just get into the prayer. So I appreciate that. And yeah, being that hollow bone, Don, I can say that I absolutely, as myself, as I began as a social worker, and then I just started having all of these experiences, and I couldn't explain them. And I would literally put myself in a psych ward if I was traditionally treating my gifts in that way. Many of us. So I've been that point of being that mirror and being that bridge between the clinical and the spiritual. And I believe that many of us are on this path. So I love this prayer. And you can replace different things. And sometimes I replace different names. Some people like creator, some people like God, some people like source, some people like mother. But it's about the light and the heart and the mind. So I think it's really great to just pause here for this moment while we take a deep breath in and just envision the top of your crown opening up like that 1,000-petaled lotus, and you can put your feet on the ground and envision them like tree roots. And you can call in your 4 directions. And from the point of light within the mind of Creator, let light stream forth into human minds. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of Creator, let love stream forth into human hearts. May the coming one return to earth from the center where the will of God is known. Let purpose guide all little human wills, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the human race, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Thank you for letting me share. And I think one thing I'll just add, and I know because we have our youth listening and so many, and I think the biggest thing is when we begin to tap in and we begin to ask for an evolution of our consciousness to be shown to us, remember that when we do open, it opens to everything. So many times you're experiencing light and dark at the same time. I went through it. And it's really important for you to stay in the heart. And so we laugh. There is no person. There's been so many different streams of thought tonight between Jim and Jerry and Chris. And for me, I think it's an evolution that we need to get there to really understand the I am within. It doesn't happen right away. It's an evolution where we open up and we discover a lot of what we're not before we can discover what we are. And I think that that's, know thyself, that oracle at Delphi, understanding there's so many different ways to decipher what your soul purpose is. And for me, when I guide people as a social worker and a hypnotherapist, we're leading with the heart, we do identify the wise adult to drive the bus, because many of us have so many different drivers. And those of us that are so multidimensional, you could be misdiagnosed with multiple personality, dissociative identities, schizophrenia, all of the different mental health diagnoses that are comorbid with those of us that are walking a more awakened, evolved spiritual path. So I just say there's so many different ways to get there, but the most important thing is to be in the heart and know who you're listening to, because a lot of times false light shows up. And I'm not trying to scare anybody, but look at your own feet when you start to spin. Your discernment is your superpower. Your breath is your superpower. And a little tuning forks don't hurt clearing, and allowing you to see things a little bit more clearly. So I'm sorry to jump in there, Estelle, but I just had to piggyback the masters.
No.
And I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, sister. That was perfect. But the youth also said it might even be more important than usual to pull a card tonight. So I'm asked to relay that to you.
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry. Is it?
Sorry. More important than usual to pull a card tonight. So maybe we will.
Ready.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Let's wait a little bit, and then we'll give them a chance. Yeah. Perfect. They also said, and then I'll flip it right up to you, Estelle. They wanted me to mention, because we're talking about our brother Standing Bear. No, I can't do that this way. Okay. Wombly Redbird is the young man who passed away the other day. It was just about to be 29. He was at Standing Rock. He was all about keeping things peaceful. He was all about working from love. He would be right in the river, right in front. And if they would train the cannons on any of the young people on the far bank, he would step in front of it and take the shot instead of them. Not because they couldn't take it, but because he loved the people. So anybody he thought it would be too much, he would step there. But he also left. So the young ones and the old ones, some are passing into that realm because that's where they need to do their work. We haven't lost any of them. We really haven't. I have felt Standing Bear since we started this today. Actually, I've felt him many times in the past few days. And there's things that when he and I talked, we promised we were going to do. We had this whole list of things. And the other night in the middle of the night, I sensed him really strongly, and I said, yeah, I'm going to keep doing it. We'll just do it with whoever's there. It was never about us, brother. And that's kind of where I'm at. Estelle.
So it takes a lot of bravery for me to speak in front of folks, and I want to again say thank you for the invitation and that you all are here and to be a part of this because the time is now, and I feel very strongly that I'm in the presence of some incredible souls and a lot of wisdom, and I'm humbled by hearing your shares and what you have to say and your interpretations. And so, whatever I bring is what I bring, but know that I'm over here just really sinking into my heart, hearing what you have to say. So thank you. Melissa, you said something about, the light and the dark coming in. And I felt that experience super strongly about 4 or 5 years ago, where there was like a 2 month period where I just started getting this, like all of this energy onto my chest. And it almost like sometimes it brought me to my feet and I was like, what's happening? And I asked, I was like, is this light or the dark? And the answer that I got was this is both. Almost like the light was penetrating the dark. And so I hadn't thought about that in a minute. And so your share kind of reminded me of that, how that happens. So yeah, to be more clear, it was like the light penetrating the dark because it was both. Yeah. I want to speak also to, what Standing Bear was talking about was I was, talking about a 10-day meditation I had attended. And at the end of the meditation, we would say, may all beings be sovereign, happy, joyful, and peaceful. And liberated, excuse me, liberated. And he's like, no, like we're not talking about liberation because liberation is like this false idea, right? Like we're already free. And it goes into duality, right? Like these like dualistic natures of like male and female, positive and negative, mind and heart, you know, light and dark, science and spirituality. And I've really been like kind of tuning into, I've always been able to kind of feel both sides of everything. And I do very much feel connected up above and below. I feel very much in tune to my masculine and feminine energies. Sometimes they want to go strictly one way or strictly the other. And I'm like, I find myself almost like trying to merge in the middle and or blend them, right? Because by blending them as one, then we're kind of breaking the duality. With that said, I want to simply share that many years ago, I went through the process of getting diagnosed from a medical perspective, for being mildly autistic and having anxiety and depression. And I was asked if I, hear voices, and most likely not the type of voices that would, call me as schizophrenic, but I definitely have guides. And the first time I heard my guides was when I started meditating in 2013. And it's like I was hearing them talk about me as if I couldn't hear, like I'm in the room, but they're talking about me as if I'm not there. And it was very interesting. I'm like, I'm here. Like, what's going on? And that kind of comes in and out, definitely for sure, based on my meditative states and all of that. What I really want to honor in this, brain and mind and heart conversation is how much I love my brain. Is how much I love my brain and how much I'm I'm really in this mentality for many years of making choices that really serve my brain. Because as I've gotten older, um, and this also, we're talking about the brain, which also has to do with the mind, right? Which is like the chattering, is I've become very sensitive to the world. The lifestyle that I lived before is not the lifestyle that I can live anymore. And a lot of it has to do with symptoms that I receive. And so, Dawn, with your talks about, science, and Melissa with your talks, I just want to, you know, um, say thank you for tuning into those energies, and that I can only speak from my experience. Like I don't sit here with a certificate, of anything, besides a college degree and an art therapy practitioner certificate and maybe some CPR in the past. I work with children, I can really only speak from my life experience, and that, um, for me, it's about, you know, the like how our choices create these symptoms, and that my body really is like the most highly intelligent living. um it's so intelligent. It's like incredibly intelligent, and that the more that I listen to what I consume and what I take in, the more clear my channel is. And it's incredible and it's fantastic, and I'm like, for me, it's like it's pushing me towards, like, you know eating a lot of raw foods versus like processed foods, and how, like, eating a couple nuts this day will like do these things, and how those choices ultimately get me more in this like monkey brain. And so that's kind of how um I'm kind of forced and suggested and invited to live. And it's really beautiful because I spent a lot of years hurting myself, which was hurting my brain and hurting my mind and leading me down a path of self-destruction. And so, uh, I'm 39. There's so much that I know that I have the capacity for, and that I'm shifting into, and that, like, I'm charging into, and I'm ecstatic about, this intelligence that I've been gifted, and how it's going to expand and grow and contribute to the world. And that, again, it just comes down to like self-love and self-care, and that's my responsibility. And that, to be in this oneness, to be in these vibrations, to be in this consciousness, right, with all of life, is asking me to take responsibility for my choices. Because to me, being able to tune into those vibrations and these frequencies and sounds and tones is a reflection of, my daily choices. And it's just incredible how much I care about myself now than I did before. And that, for anyone listening, because I remember like you all said, the youth are listening, is that, you know, we are all one, we are all connected. But we didn't grow up in a society. We typically don't grow up in societies that teach us to listen to ourselves and to love ourselves and to listen to your body, because your body is unique and it is personal, and it is, as much as it is like everyone else's, it's got its own, you've got your own relationship with it. And to never really let anyone tell you what's good or bad for you, and that you will know through how you treat yourself and how you care for yourself. Because that, again, that has been my direct gateway and openness to to become closer and closer to a living embodiment of unconditional love, which is ultimately my purpose. So thank you so much. I pass the talking stick.
Thank you. Very good. Yeah, and I would never have called you out, but since you mentioned it, it is really good to see you here. It was nice to see you show up. It was even more surprising to see you ready to speak. And this is good. I mean, this is what we all have to do. Push a little bit, feel a little uncomfortable, do what we need to do. You did it. Mary. Whoops.
Unmute, Mary. Thank you. I wanted to share something very short. Anything that is not love is only a visitor to your body. You are not anxious. Stress is simply flowing through you. You are not permanently depressed. Sadness is simply visiting you. You are not lost. Confusion is simply wandering around within you. And you are not broken. Pain is simply passing through you. These were by Talia Hunter, and she was inspired by the poem "This Being Human is a Guest House" by Rumi. I think this pertains to all of us. It's by Panache Desai, and it's a light worker's creed. So you may join in. I am a light worker. I awoke so that others may awaken, excuse me. I awoke so that I may learn. I awoke so that I may transform. I awoke to lighten my load. I awoke to learn to see. I awoke to forgive myself. I awoke to love myself. I awoke so that I may also bring out love in others. I am a light worker. I awoke so that others may also awaken. I awoke so that others may also learn. I awoke so that others may also transform. I awoke so that others may also change or lighten their load. I awoke so that others may also see. I awoke so that others may also help others to forgive themselves. I awoke so that others may also bring out love in others. I am a light worker. I live to give comfort. I live to shine loving light onto others. I live to heal. I live to give hope. I live for truth. I live to love. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. That was great. Valerie, I'm sorry. I skipped over you.
That's
Whoops.
quite all right. That was fabulous. Gosh, I really enjoyed Estelle and all that's been shared, and Mary and many others. And Don, your story is just needs to be a comedy act. But there's so much truth to that. I think we've all been there where we've taken on through our own device the pains of others and have paid for it. So great story. So yes, I really enjoyed what you're sharing there, Estelle, about loving yourself. I mean, that's huge. And I am in that journey as well as trying to walk the red road, and learn from that as well. Which has led with the red road led me to Standing Bear and to Jim and many others. So it's been a good road. And part of that is loving yourself, all your parts, not just those that is accepted, those that are not always so accepted, and I think about that we are in a time where we really do carry within us both male and female, and to love both sides of ourselves in whole as you truly are is a beautiful thing. um, the thing I'm kind of stuck on, and I don't know that I can get past it, is that we mentioned to be kind of neutral in spirit, neither being neither in the mind or the heart, but being in spirit. I can't separate spirit from love. It's like it's for me, it's one and the same. Like when I'm in a space of love, like I'm feeling so much love for all of you right now. When I'm in a space of love, to me, I am in spirit. So I have a hard time distinguishing those two. So I thought I'd bring that up. Thank you all.
Yeah, that's really good. And remember, labels are just that. Labels can't fully define anything, but it's the only way we can speak with some comprehension of what others mean. So yeah, and some words I just go, what? And that's good, because the way is then ask the question and maybe hear what somebody needs to do. And okay, so is it okay okay. All right, okay. So there's a bunch of stuff there from both groups, but I just got permission to bring on Kiwi Chris.
Takes me a bit to take everything off pause.
I was going to say unmute, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm totally in agreement with what you're saying there with love, Valerie. You cannot separate that from source. And this is one of the areas where I say the English language separates so many things that were never meant to be separate. When I go into what love is, I'm also going into what life is. And usually I'll start with life. From life, there is breath. From breath, there is love. From love, there is joy. There is presence. There is beauty. There's such a sense of gift and vitality and nourishment. These appear to be different words, but they're not. They're the same thing given, yeah. When we use words to separate, we lost the essence of what things were. And originally found this through Jerry taught me about a word sukha, which is beauty, joy, love. Oh, I forget what the fourth one was. But it's talking about all those as one and more, which is where I went into the life with that love, that beauty, that everything is in there. The other thing is when I go into that source love, it has two qualities. One, it is 100% open, and two, because it's 100% open, it feels everything. And in that feeling everything, it understands. So it is openness and understanding. The understanding comes from that openness. And that's where we see the beauty of everything. So just throwing that out there.
Thank you, brother. Good words. That was one of the things that Pine Ridge folks had put up. We talk about mind, body, and spirit, but we also, in some of my way, are aspects: mind, body, spirit, emotions, sexuality, dreams, and the gestalt, the whole thing. And that's exactly what that's about, Chris, because it is the whole thing. Those are just little indicators within. And it's hard to talk that way because most people don't get it. They want to hear a particular label. So thank you. Marcy, I knew you were coming.
Well, I feel to talk about all this through a more practical, living a particular life kind of thing. Some of these people that are here now have heard my story, and I'm going to reveal some of that as I speak. I'm using myself as an example. So, first of all, mind is not the brain. The mind is the vast totality of everything that resides in each one of our little minds, our little minds. We're made of mind, emotions, intuition, and instincts, and those have to all mesh together. So everything that's been said here tonight, I think to myself, what do you say to somebody who's in such turmoil and such confusion, as I know I have been in my life? To hear many things that are being said here, it would have been gobbledygook to me, because it had no practical application to the turmoil my mind was in. I'm going to give you a quick rundown. Till I was 12 years old, I just lived in an average dysfunctional family, a father that was aloof, untouchable, and a mother who was on the narcissistic side and cold and bitter and indifferent. Okay, 3 older brothers. I was molested by several of them and several of their friends. Okay. And then when I was 12 years old, my father got sick with cancer of the sinuses. By the time I was 14, he died of cancer of sinuses that ate half his face off. Now, that is a lot of confusion. From there, I went to, it was 1968. A bunch of hippie type people moved into my house. I had no parental control. I was trying to make decisions at 14 years old, what to do with my life. And then I went on from that. Okay, in that confusion, let's look at the internet. Has this energetic web all over the world where all these little points come together. The web comes together into nodes. And those nodes are where people communicate with one another. But that's a reflection of what's going on in our mind with the belief systems that we've taken on in our lives. Okay, so I'm going to go to my beliefs that I established after my first 14 years out of it. And then also within the brain, in the brain that's connected to the body, this neural net system that's going on in there, where neural nets will connect with another neural net because it's repetitive patterns of thought. And in that connection is where chemicals are released that match the emotions. So when you have an emotional reaction to something, they'll fire and they'll send chemistry through the whole body. And so if you're angry, suddenly your whole body instantly is angry. Okay? So if I'm a young girl and I'm being molested by multiple guys, no one there to protect me, in my mind, I thought, and didn't realize it, this is just one example of a belief that was formed and those neural nets that were formed. Okay? So if I'm molested by all those people, to me, I'm starving for affection and some love because of my mother and my father's death and all these things, that I'm like, okay, then I may not have sex with everybody under the sun, but I'm certainly going to use my body and my flirtatiousness to get attention. It took me till I was 40 years old to realize that one strand in the web of me. 40 years old. And that was only because I was under the tutelage of an indigenous teacher, okay, that helped bring that to surface. And at that point, I realized all that disloyalty, all that attention getting, and all that, what sexual activity I did do, came from that one belief that I established. One belief. So from that point forward, I had to start dismantling those neural nets inside my brain so that I could create new neural net connections, new chemistry that said self-love. Okay, that's just one example, right? My father's death, the confusion about what God was. How could a God that was so loving do such a thing and completely eats half of someone's face off? Anger, hurt, piled on top of. So, okay, in my perception of things, I had to start looking and going in, like for an example, here's another piece, which some of you have heard. Okay, when I was in the commune, there was a woman there who was very popular, very pretty, and I felt very mousy and ugly, and I resented her. I was jealous of her. I did not know those words. All I knew is I was reacting and I was cutting her down. excuse me, cutting her down and all these things. And eventually I had to ask myself, why does that bother me that she did that? And not stopping at the first answer. Oh, because she did that and she did that and she did that. Well, wait a minute. Why did that bother me? Until I led myself back through that emotion without it having a label on it, till I got to the belief that said, because I am not happy with me and I'm projecting onto her. Oh, so basically that thread that took me from my reactionary self took me all the way back through the thread, all the way to the belief system, which where the neural nets have been holding all this energetic chemistry and everything else. Okay, so, and I've said this before in some of our little day talks, or, our day circle, when we talk on Messenger, that by following an emotional reaction thoroughly enough, this is the mind working here, that takes you back, question, answer, question, answer, question, answer, to that belief. When you get to that belief, then you can rip it apart bit by bit, but then you still have to go through many, many cycles of experience in the future to bring that up one more time for you to look at and go, oh, this is familiar, because then you start to see patterns. And patterns are part of the mind, showing you what the emotional body is doing and what your mind is doing, what you're even creating in your world. Because you can pray, you can dance, you can burn incense, you can do whatever and try to manifest something to happen, but it won't happen unless that internal thing is matched up with it. And that can't be matched up until you've torn it all apart and put it back together. So as I said, I have a different view on all this. And this is the approach I've had to use in my life to find balance between my emotions and my logic. And so they function as one machine, if you want to call it that. So that's just my thought. Okay.
Well, that's good. Thanks for sharing so much.
Yeah.
And yeah, we all get there in a different way.
Right.
I like all these different pieces because it's kind of what we were saying. We all carry a little bit.
Yeah.
Put it in the big pot, stir it up, and see what soup we get.
Yep. And so that's the piece I present, so
Thank you, Marcy.
because I know how confused I've been in my life and
Oh,
how,
yeah.
and how
Yep.
you got to get practical about what the mind is really for.
Yep.
Okay. It's
Yep.
here to analyze. And if you're analyzing what's going on inside of you correctly, instead of running around in a little loop that's saying, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. If you're utilizing it, you can dismantle this stuff. We have been taught so many programs. It's unbelievable. Each one of us has a completely different setup of things that we were taught to believe were what we are. And that you got to analyze, you got to use the mind to break through those things that like peeling back the layers of an onion, because in the center is the white purity, and that's what we are in our center. But I can't get there just by someone saying, be your heart. Excuse me, what the hell is that? I don't even know I have a heart because I'm so messed up. I'm very intense, I'm sorry, but
No sorries. We don't do sorry here.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm done.
Much love. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
So, okay, Mr. Don. And then let's shift to Melissa, because they say hold.
Oh, we're getting up to the hour. I just want to say, Marcy, I'm
Take your
I'm
time.
up there with you too. In a sense that one of my other passions is neurophysiology and how the neural networks work, and and I think about it sometimes, if you could get people to be aware of the fact that these neural networks are built, right? They're built from the time, again, we hold that little baby. It is so pure. And then what happens to it? Humans, right? And all those layers. And most of it, that's where it goes to. I think we have more, as I look around, especially the younger people, we just have so many folks that are just running the wheel every day that they don't even have time to stop and think about what they need to think about, right? And we don't know until we hit the wall sometimes. But I think we have to use all the tools that are available to us because different tools work differently for different people. And I think we have to help people get pointed to the people that they need. As a practitioner, if I couldn't get where I needed to be, or if I couldn't interact in the way if it wasn't meant to be, it wasn't meant to be, and so I moved them on to somebody else, right? And I think that's what makes a good practitioner as well of healing and love is knowing that, hey, maybe it's not me. I was their introduction, but you have to find the right person that can work with you. And if you're looking, not like you have to go through yellow pages or whatever, but if in your heart you're looking, somebody will come because that's how it works.
Stick in the middle. Okay, got it. That's good. Yeah, and the thing that Don brings up to me too is there's not only balance within, but balance in our circles. And Don and I balance each other out quite well. We work together really well. Different approaches. He's more mind, I'm more spirit. We both have each of them. But that allows working within the circle in a good way. That moves everything ahead. Okay, Melissa, you got it, sister.
I just have to offer support and love because I feel that we shared a lot. A lot of people shared from their heart and from their soul. So, as a social worker, as a therapist, I offer support. If anybody here, I support the medicine circles. I have interns that are working with me. We do heart-centered hypnotherapy. We do all different approaches. But if anybody needs clinical support, you can always reach out. Jennings Counseling is my website. You can always reach out. We never turn anybody away. And I have the life coaching. There's no, it could be anywhere in the world. So many of us do this work, but I just have to put that out there because sometimes we can become triggered with other people's stories and we don't even realize, and we go into a state of shock and we go into fight or flight or freeze and we don't even realize. And so I just want to share that and offer that as well, because I know this is a tender time and a lot of us are really working on that root chakra tonight. I feel it, and even for me, I'll be honest with you, I feel like I'm getting the flu. As this podcast has gone on, my body has started to kind of like slow down and I'm heating up and I'm feeling the purge. So I will share that as well. I'm physically feeling a reaction to tonight's shares, and I'm like, I'm like, can you bring me a tea, like a turmeric and ginger to try to work with the inflammation, because that's what happens to me physically is I, as this person that tunes into the energy field like you, Don, like I've worked in those things, we have to be so hollow and not to keep anybody else's stuff and allow us to be that hollow bone. And it's not easy. So we pick the fox and I think that's perfect, right? So we'll bring in some Rommel energies, some strategy here. I love working with that energy of the desert fox. So whenever I pull the fox, it always makes me think of Erwin Rommel. And listen, he did try to take out Hitler. All right, he wasn't a bad guy. So camouflage. So these are Jamie Sam's medicine cards that we're pulling, and I'll read from them now. So fox, where are you? Under the ferns, becoming the forest so I can learn. Are you watching, invisible to me, trying to teach me to become a tree? So look at that. As above, so below. There's that tree that we've been talking about. There's the lemonscape. I mean, we can go on and on and on about what that is, but that is that mean, that median, that node, that space, that pause that we're looking for, that third place. So Willie Fox has many allies in the woodlands. Oh, and the word is camouflage. That's the key word here. I like that. Which offers protection and much medicine. Fox is seemingly able to vanish amidst the lush undergrowth of the forest. This flora is Fox's ally. The ability to meld into one's surroundings and be unnoticed is a powerful gift when one is observing the activities of others. Another natural gift of Fox is the ability to adapt to winter by changing color. Like the chameleon, its rich white winter coat allows Fox to blend into the snow when the leaves no longer linger. Fox medicine involves adaptability, cunning, observation, interrogation, and swiftness of thought and action. These traits may also include quick decisiveness and sure-footedness in the physical world. And so many of us who grew up in those complex trauma histories had to develop these senses when we were walking on eggshells to navigate our world. So this Fox medicine is on target, right? Fox's ability to be unseen allows it to be the protector of the family unit. If danger arises, Fox is Johnny on the spot. Nanawaya, great spirit of the Choctaw tongue, honors Fox with the duty of keeping the family together and safe. This is accomplished through Fox's ability to observe undetected without making others self-conscious. Fox is always concerned with those safety of family members and is an excellent talisman for those traveling far afield. If Fox has chosen to share its medicine with you, it's a sign that you are to become like the wind. Oh, there's our friend. Which is unseen, yet able to weave into and through any location or situation. You would be wise to observe the acts of others rather than their words at this time. Use your cunning nature in a positive way. Keep silent about who and what and why you are observing. In learning the art of camouflage, you need to test your abilities to pull this off. One test or exercise that may be helpful to you is deciding to be invisible. I giggle because I was writing all about that today. In doing this exercise, you might try to visualize your body as part of your surroundings, full of the colors of the location you are in. See yourself in your mind's eye, moving with stealth and grace, unheeded by others. If you do it right, it works. You can leave a party unnoticed or become an unobtrusive as a piece of furniture, watching the developing drama of the subjects you are studying. While learning from Fox, you might also gain confidence in your ability to know instantly what will happen next. After observing for a while, you become aware of certain predictability in given situations to be able to quickly make your move. Fox medicine teaches the art of oneness through its understanding of camouflage. This applies on all levels, from rocks to God. With Fox medicine, you're being asked to see all types of uses for oneness. Much like the clowns at the rodeo, Fox can keep the raging bull from stampeding a friend or family member. Fox can use silly tactics as a brilliant camouflage move. No one could guess the sly power behind such ingenious maneuvers. And what comes to mind is the laugh and the giggle and the tickle. Think about it, right? As children, Like tickling is supposed to be, oh, so funny, but tickling sometimes turns into something really uncomfortable, and it can actually cause you to feel so super uncomfortable. So there shows the gamut of how one thing, laughter and joy, can just go to the other side of the scale. And I think that's with everything. And I pulled, how are we on time? I pulled one other from the angels and ancestors. Do we have time for that? Do you want me to do a quick synopsis, or?
Yeah, go ahead. If we go over, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, I felt, and this one I pulled is actually Lord. Take charge with authority. So this is from the Angels and Ancestors guidebook. Yeah. Don't be afraid to take charge or use your voice. Be strong. The Lord is the consort of the lady, the emperor in the traditional tarot. He represents an authoritative male who isn't afraid to lay down the law, but this doesn't mean he's angry or chauvinistic. He's self-possessed, reliable, and ambitious. A man of honor who has earned his place in society. The Lord in this oracle has a ram's staff and wears a crown of antlers, showing he keeps himself firmly rooted in the ground and is protective of his people. His regal air indicates he has a taste for the finer things in life, yet he is sensitive to those who are less fortunate than he is. So the extended message is, sometimes you have to take control in order to be honored. If you feel that your kindness or gifts are being taken for granted, it's time to change that. There is no excuse for bad behavior, and the ancestors are encouraging you to hold your ground and speak your mind in a fiercely loving way. You have the energy and might to overcome dramas or energies that aren't working for your growth, and it's time to take charge before you find yourself in a situation you don't want to be in. You're being encouraged to be the boss instead of being bossed. That reminds me of Coco Bev. She's Boss Rock is her name. So Coco Bev's coming in too. This card also brings energy of ambition and can show you to have the potential to move upwards on a professional level, but only if you act with authority and show who you truly are. And I think this is a message for tonight. You know, many of us, we've shared, most of us, complex trauma, many of us severely sexually abused, so many different things, right? Or, you know, whatever, betrayed, lied to, whatever human experience you contracted for in this lifetime. I think what's most important is to understand the concept of time, because it is a construct and it is shifting and it is evolving. So that becoming invisible and working with that pause and being able to observe the tornado, right? And like, wait, hold on, I don't have to walk through that. I can walk around it. And I think that's what some of this medicine is weaving through as an antidote to so much of what we share tonight. Those of us that have had these complex trauma histories often feel like a fraud. We don't feel like we are good enough. And I'm guilty. Oh, I'm a social worker. I'm a therapist. I know. I'm a human, and I you know, and like we all are. Yes, we wear these different hats in professional realms, but at the end of the day, I'll bring us just back to Maya Angelou, my favorite quote: people forget what you said, people forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. So I hope tonight that everybody leaves a little bit lighter, because I know we talked about a lot of heavy stuff, and that's my prayer, that we leave in light as we pull down that pillar of light and surround ourselves and connect as we're all one. So talking stick in the middle, thank you for letting me speak.
Awesome. Thank you. So both groups are pointing out, you pulled up the masculine and the feminine, the heart and the brain in the cards. Fox is feminine energy, but also very intelligent. And then your other card was all masculine energy. So no coincidence. Both cards came up, is what they're saying. I saw that too. Also, I think the grandmothers were not on in the beginning. they're asking about are we going to do anything for Standing Bear ceremonies, and I said at the beginning, but yes, we are. It's being planned, and not just us. We're going to work with with Jenny and the others, and Mel's going to help out. We'll all come together and put something together in both the virtual realm and the physical realm, and it's going to spread because there's already a bunch of people doing things, and that he is one person. We knew him, but he is a banner holder for so many. All those who have left, we want to honor and make sure they understand we still need their help. Doesn't matter if they're sitting next to us or up there above us where they can judge us. No, just kidding. Hey, Jerry, I saw your hand up.
Who, me? No.
No,
Yeah, my hand was up.
it was the other Jerry.
So I start with all my relations. With that prayer, with that teaching, with that lesson. My relations are one. My relation speaks everything working together as one. Everything is interactive. Everything is interactive also within the human body. Mind, body, spirit. They all, whether we realize it or not, they still act as one. We may see the differences. We may see one being used too heavily, but they act as one. And when we pull back and we look from spirit viewpoint, with the eyes of the eagle, we see that there is no time. There's only circles and cycles. And that goes back to what Marcy was saying about patterns and behaviors. We see all these things. We see how they all move and interact together. Just like the human body is a system that interacts together. The human brain is a system.
Breaking.
Until the other, okay, until the other part heals. So I just ask you to think about that. And going within and coming from that place of spirit and how the thoughts, the emotions, and our actions all work together as one. How our heart, our mind, our spirit work together as one. We're also a four-part being. Mental, emotional, and spiritual, and how they all interact as one. First, for them to interact as one, for us to become aware of how they interact as one, we must become observant. We must look within. What Marcy gave us is a beautiful example of how that looking within is applied. We look within, we begin to understand and identify what all these parts of ourself are. And then we begin to see how they all work, what their function is, and how they function together. So we have to observe these things first to understand them. Then we can see that there is a harmony. Then we can work with that flow and with that harmony. Right now, so much of the world looks at the heart and the mind, two separate things, two things battling. It's not about that at all. But first we have to look within. We have to look at these things, learn to see how they work and how they work in our lives. Then we can begin to see the flow and how that flow is a greater part of the overall flow of life. That's all I have to say. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Estelle, I want to thank you for all you've shared. It was beautiful, and I thank you for that. I thank everyone.
I'm going to, and there's a lot of things I had online, and I already apologized. We couldn't do it all. If we need to carry this in the next week, we will. There's going to be a lot of things coming up. I just want to come up with, and Standing Bear and I talked about this in depth down by the lodge one day. The attacks people are making on people and assumptions and judgments. It's all part of what we're clearing. And just remember, and one of our brothers carries this too, but hurt people hurt people. Healing people heal people. So the more we work on our healing, the more we're helping everybody to heal. So we did a lot of that tonight. Did a lot of it last week too, and we're going to keep doing a lot of it. Thank you all. Who would like to close us out? Closing prayer, because I don't think Chantel, she was trying to hang on, but she was having connection problems. Silence is quite a teacher.
I'll say something.
Hmm?
I'll say something.
I was wondering if you would. Go ahead.
In this space tonight, we have called upon all aspects of our souls, all the wisdom that we've carried from previous lifetimes, the presence and the reality that we share now in this moment, and our higher selves, our future selves that have come in to guide us and hold us along the way. We've been protected and guided by all the directions and all the elements. We have spoken about the plants, the animals, the children. And we recognize that we are all one. We may all identify with the terms heart and mind in different ways. However, we have poured so much energy into this coherence of bridging together words through what we may call spirit, God, source consciousness, the one, the all, the knowing, the all-seeing. And we have held each other together in a circle. And we come from all different colors and backgrounds, tribes and nations, and we are love. And we showed up today because we had to, we needed to, we wanted to, for ourselves, for our ancestors, for our loved ones, for our community, for our healing, for our growth, for all. And for our brother Standing Bear and the elders that have passed, and the young gentleman from Standing Rock. We wish that you are making your way to your new home safely, comfortably, lightly. And we thank you for being here with us and loving us and supporting us. And we will continue to do our very best to listen, to keep listening. Oh, thank you.
Thank you, thank you. And yeah, as you were doing that, I'm sending gratitude off to Standing Bear and all the others for the time we had with them, which was powerful time, each of us. I'm going to just share one more thing because the Youth Council asked me to do this before we leave. This is really interesting. And you guys have been great. Keep it up. And Tom, with everyone else there, and grandmothers, thank you all. You are an important part of this circle. So the Youth Council, they run from 14 to 21 in age. And they heard you mention your age earlier. and they hear you. They hear that it's not been easy, so they're thanking you for being a model, so they can follow up next. Good. That's what we want. Keep the circle going. Thanks, Estelle. Thanks, everybody. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I sure hope. No, this will download beautifully. Blessings all. Anyone have fingers near buttons? Get them away.